What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Today is the Fed rate hike day, so I'm sure everybody's super excited. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing happening in the charts right now. Bitcoin going sideways, and we have the S&P actually down today. Now, depending on the time that you're watching this video, it may very well be after 2 p.m., which is when we're having that decision made and Powell's going to come out and give the speech. So with that being said, if you happen to catch this video before that, I want to go over what we could expect, how we could play this, and why we shouldn't be getting faked out. Because you can see right here, actually, the job openings were 10.7, expected to be 9.75, last 10.05. So this, once again, is not really giving them a reason to want to lower the rates, right? Most people are expecting a 75 basis point hike. And you can see actually what's interesting is out of the last 5 times, 4 out of those 5 times, we actually ended the markets on a positive day, right? So far we've actually come down in the morning. So does this mean that once we get the 75 basis point raise, it could just go right up, right? Well, basically, you know, like Sven Henrik was saying, PMI came in at 45. Housing is collapsing as it is manufacturing data. The personal saving rate has collapsed. Credit card debt is exploding. 75 or 37% of small businesses are behind on their rent. Don't tell me the consumer is strong and there is no recession in sight. But let's just talk about super quick what to expect today. And then I need to talk about some other things. So let's super quick just go over what will happen. About, I think it's like 88% are expecting 75, right? So if we get 50 basis points today, Bitcoin and stocks and everything's going to absolutely just totally rally, crazy pump. If we get 100, which I doubt that will happen, but if we do, then we're probably going to see a market crash. And if we get 75, it's about a 50-50. But if we do see that dump today, you know, hypothetically speaking, you know, just listen to what Powell has to say. But ultimately, if we get 75, I still think that even if we have a fake out, we will continue to the upside, okay? So that's all of that. That's everything you need to know about what's happening today at 2 p.m. But we have so much more in today's video, so make sure you stick around. I want to talk about the fact that we've seen more Bitcoin leaving the exchanges than ever before. Now, this is really positive. This means that we're seeing a lot of people hodling their Bitcoin, right? They're taking it off the exchanges. They're putting it onto their cold storage. However, I just want to point something out that as you take Bitcoin off the exchange, you actually you create less liquidity by taking it off, right? So the order books get smaller and smaller, which means you can actually see even crazier, more volatile moves for Bitcoin. So we're going to talk about that. Also, you'd be surprised. There was a survey done about how Americans feel, and we do have the midterm elections coming up, right? So we have the Democrats versus the Republicans. Who do you actually think is more bullish on Bitcoin and interested? That we got to talk about. And finally, last thing, I know lots of things to go over today. There is one final indicator that is a brand new indicator, and it actually is flashing something crazy right now that we have not seen for Bitcoin since Bitcoin's price was $4,000. So lots of things to go over today, guys. If all of that sounds good to you, you know what to do. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. Let's dive in. Let's talk about the chart super quick. So you can see right now that we are in fact holding up around this sort of 20,000. Every time we dip down to about 20.2, 20.3, right? We keep having this bounce back up. So there is apparently some demand. We are attempting to flip the previous resistance into support. And as you can see right here, we are in fact forming a bull flag, right? So if everything goes according to plan today, ultimately, if you were to sort of just take this, you know, assuming we have a breakout at this point, that should bring us to about $22,300 if we have the breakout to the upside, right? And you know what's very interesting about that? If we go back to this level right here, we had a $22,475 target, which would bring us right to the beginning of where we had this retest of this upwards trend, right? And you can see right here, we also had this area, and then we had all of this interaction with that area. So that would be quite interesting. Now, remember I had been saying that, you know, I still thought we could come back down here and retest this trend. Now, maybe we don't do it. I mean, maybe we just, you know, break right out of this and go straight to the moon. But also just something super quick just to point this out. Binance shorts are loading up on the US Open. So they're anticipating that we are going to have a breakdown. We are seeing the shorts start to, you know, pile on. So could it be a possibility, you know, that maybe we do have a fake out to the downside? We do retest it because right here, guys, guys, I have a, I do have an order set for that area at 19,457, so $19,457, and we could have, that fake out and potentially a squeeze to the upside. So that's how I'm playing it. Basically, if you guys want to trade this, if we're having a breakdown to the downside, I would put my buy order at 19,457, and if we break above 20,740, have the retest, then I would long it to the area of 21,742. You could take profits there, and then the next area would be 22,475. And obviously, if you guys want to learn how to trade, make sure that you guys check out the tutorial. And remember, tomorrow is the last day for the $30,000 giveaway on BitGet, and one person is going to get 1,500. So there'll be one lucky winner, and I will announce that on the channel the following day. If you guys want to get in on this, make sure you use the links below in the description. That's the only way to get eligible, and you do also get those extra bonuses. So make sure you guys check out the tutorial, right? So the interesting thing, though, that I do want to point out is that, regardless of this, if you really look at this chart, we are seeing a nice double bottom pattern for Bitcoin. And look at this area. Look at the point of control right here on the VPVR. You see where it's, bulging out right here? You can see this green line. There is a lot of accumulation, a lot of demand, a lot of trading happening for Bitcoin in that area. So there might be a possibility that even if there was to be a fake out, we would very, very, very quickly come back to that $19,000 level. And the other thing is, people that try to, catch these bottoms, I just want to point something out. So Bitcoin bottomed down here at around $17,500. That does not mean that every single person that was trading it would have had that opportunity to buy. In fact, all it took is just one person that bought one Bitcoin or some Bitcoin for 17,600, and that's enough to print the candle. This down here could have literally been one person buying. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that would still get put into the weekly chart, right? So, a lot of people waiting for those moves, they usually don't get them. But one thing you can point out, let me actually get rid of the VPVR right now, is historically speaking, just looking at these, and these are like the major moving averages. You have pretty much the 50, the 100, and the 200. You could see that pretty much every time, we tend to have this crossover right here. Let me make this a little brighter so you guys can see. Every single time that we have that crossover, with the 50 moving below the 100, the bottom has already been in. And you could see historically right here, the bottom was already in. And, we had this again right here. So, is history repeating? Is it different this time? This is what we've been saying on the channel for a while. It kind of, look at the spacing even. Look at how even this is. When people say that the 4-year cycle is not intact, it looks like it's on track to me. But what do I know, guys? I'm just a crazy guy on the internet. Now, we obviously do have a lot of sells up at around 30K, and if that wall comes lower, could be an issue potentially. But like I said, we're seeing the huge amounts of Bitcoin net outflows, right? So see, all these are, every single one of these is a day. So, this shows you what happened on this day, on this day, on this day, on this day. This line shows you the price. But you can see that there's only these very small green inflows that have happened since September 30th, pretty much the whole month of October is what we're looking at. And yeah, look at all of these big red outflows. So where is this Bitcoin going? If they're taking it off the exchange, then obviously they're not looking to sell it, right? And like I said, that could make things a little more volatile. But you had Grayscale. They pretty much had a survey, and they were talking to Americans how they viewed cryptocurrency and, in relation to the upcoming election. And the survey found that 52% of Americans, including 59% of Democrats and 51% of Republicans, said that they agreed with the statement, cryptocurrencies are the future of finance, with 44% saying that they anticipate including crypto in their investment portfolio in the future. So you can see that the sentiment is changing. Just a few years ago, Bitcoin was a total Ponzi. It was a scam. I would never touch crypto with a 10-foot pole. And now we're seeing 50% of America, and really arguably almost half and half split between the Democrats. Technically Democrats are a little bit more willingly accepting of Bitcoin and crypto, but ultimately you're still seeing over 52% of Americans, whereas if you had probably did this survey back in 2017 or even 2016, it probably would have been closer to 5. right? So that is something to just mention. And you know why I think this is happening? I think it's happening because people are just truly waking up to the power and, of cryptocurrency. And let's be honest, like Saifedean pointed out, if you had invested $10,000 in iShares US Treasury Bond ETF 10 years ago and reinvested all the yields, guess how much you would have today? $10,478. So 10 years ago at $10,000, your $10,000 would be $10,478. However, if you factor in inflation, really what would it be, right? This is the risk-free bedrock of the portfolios of all the idiots who call Bitcoin a scam, he says. But here is proof and here is evidence that every single cycle, the hodlers get stronger, the conviction gets stronger, right? So he says today, this is from Capriol Investments from Charles Edward. He says, today represents an all-time high in long-term holding of Bitcoin. Despite the worst year in stocks and bonds in centuries, Bitcoiners have never held on to more Bitcoin. This is the HODL Waves chart right here. It shows the percentage of Bitcoin total supply held by long-term holders, so a year or more, right? Each one of these waves represents different amounts. But he says it shows that once people discover Bitcoin, less and less let go of it over time. Each cycle, the floor and the ceiling in Bitcoin held for long term. Bitcoin is becoming a reserve asset. The floor and ceiling of the percentage of the network held for 1 year is only increasing every cycle. And you can see right here, you can see where the waves touch. And then look, the next we get higher, and then the next we get higher, right? And the same thing going for the top and the top and the top, right? So this is just showing that there is conviction. People are taking it off the exchange and we're seeing them holding it longer. And this is what this is the new indicator that he made called the Bitcoin Yardstick. And, he says it's basically market cap divided by hash rate, normalized over 2 years, whatever. But if we actually back test this, he says today we are seeing valuations unheard of since Bitcoin was at $4,000. The Bitcoin Yardstick is taking the ratio of the energy work done to secure the Bitcoin network in relation to price. Lower readings equals cheaper. Bitcoin equals better value. Today we are seeing the second lowest reading for Bitcoin Yardstick. So he actually draws it out right here for you to see. The second lowest of all time. He says this means that on a relative basis, Bitcoin is extraordinarily cheap given the amount of energy being used on what is the most powerful computer network in the world. So again, I know everybody's saying doom and gloom, and I'm not trying to be a permabull in a time where the world is falling apart. I'm just saying if you just look at the fundamentals, if you look at the on-chain data, if you look historically and just realize what's happening, it's pretty hard to be bearish, even if we might have a short-term, yeah, sure. Could we go down to that 16K level as the bottom? Could we get that fake out? Of course. But, historically speaking, guys, this is the golden zone. This is the pocket, not financial advice. I mean, even the Ethereum whales are holding. Look at this. Ethereum's top non-exchange addresses that hold 23.7 million ETH, and, it's obviously going up. So, yeah, so that's basically that, guys. We're just going to end there. I do want to just do some quick crypto news. So we finally have it. India's central bank today has finally rolled out a pilot for its proposed digital rupee, enlisting 9 private and state-owned banks to conduct interbank transactions with this form of currency. Now, here's the interesting thing. They made it clear that it's very different from crypto, their purely digital existence notwithstanding. RBI wants to provide an additional option to the currently available forms of money. It is substantially not different from banknotes, but being digital, it is likely to be easier, faster, and cheaper. So it doesn't really say in this article, but this is kind of making me think it's not on the blockchain. So what is it, just like some centralized thing on a server? Is anyone from India? Can anyone let me know? Because they say a cryptocurrency is decentralized, unable to be controlled by any government entity. The digital rupee, though, will be issued and controlled by the RBI. Its centralized nature is, in fact, the RBI's bulwark against perceived threats posed by cryptocurrencies to the country's financial stability. So the way that this article is written makes it seem like it's not even on a blockchain. So technically that's not a central bank digital currency. I mean, I guess it is, but it's not on the blockchain. So anyway, that's some interesting news to come out. But, we are seeing a lot of things change over time. NFTs are getting mad popular. And Find Toshi Labs, actually the developer behind the hit move to earn game STEPN, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with that, has actually set out conditions for a new NFT marketplace called Moar. Moore, I think it's called, Moore. Royalties for creators will default to 2% or within 0.5 to 10% range, depending on what the creator chooses to set. It will initially launch on Ethereum and Solana. So they're saying that they're trying to create this value for creators, right? The marketplace will enable community members to create and launch their own collections on Moore's Launchpad, which is run like a community-driven hackathon. And they say, we are fed up of centralized institutions and want to create a new paradigm. If we make systems that are biased against artists while championing decentralization, what's the point, right? So, I mean, yeah, we're talking about sneakers. We're talking about, a move to earn app. But ultimately, you are seeing the interest in cryptocurrencies, in NFTs, in, that decentralization process. And obviously, these guys that are rolling out their digital currency don't really like that. And it is a little bit scary when you think about it. Ultimately, being able to control 1984, they don't like something you said, they don't like something you did, right? It is scary, but at the end of the day, and we can go on days about this, but it won't ever really do anything except stifle innovation and make it more difficult for the individual, right? All they can ever do is, make it more difficult for the individual, but they can't stop it from doing what it does. You can't censor Bitcoin. You can only attempt to control what an individual can do with their Bitcoin in your jurisdiction, right? But you can't stop what it actually does. So nevertheless, guys, I just thought that was really interesting today. This new, yardstick measurement that we're seeing, these HODL waves. There's just so much evidence pointing to so many things about Bitcoin right now. And yeah, like I said, guys, in a nutshell, if you are looking to trade, the area to re-up on the long, in my opinion, would be around 19,457. And if you wanted to put your stop, I guess, it's risky to trade on news days, but I'd put it around $19,040. And if we have a breakout above 20,740, then the next area is 21,742. But remember, we do have that potential breakout target of around 22,300. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos. Of course, if you do want to trade, make sure that you check out the videos that are about to pop up right now. And also don't forget, we only have 1 day left for this BitGet bonus offer, $30,000 for everyone, and one lucky winner gets $1,500. So check the video popping up right here, right now. This is the tutorial, and the links are below in the description. You guys rock. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.